Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp as we once again have a look at some of the games coming out for the Switch and the Switch 2 in this upcoming week. In terms of dates, we're going from the 14th up until the 20th, and we'll cover anything that was in the recent Partners Direct as well. So which games are coming out this week? Well, let's find out. Talking of that Partners Direct then, the first game that is already out is Tokyo Scramble. This calls itself a survival puzzle action game set deep underground. You play as Anne, who after an accident in Tokyo finds herself underground, deep within subterranean caverns, overrun by mysterious creatures that resemble dinosaurs that she names Xeno. It promises stealth, strategy and combat as you make your way through these caverns, and I must say this one does really intrigue me. At first when I saw the reveal in the Direct, I thought it was going to be a bit more like Disaster Report, that series, and perhaps it is to a degree, but it does look like there's a heavy stealth emphasis with those creatures obviously being revealed. Yep, this one's out now as I mentioned, and it sells for £24.99 or your regional equivalent. Another game that dropped after the Partners Direct was Super Bomberman Collection. This is a Switch and Switch 2 release and features a total of 7 titles with 12 different versions across Japan, Europe and North America, including localized versions of the unreleased Super Bomberman 4 and 5. So you get Super Bomberman, the Japanese, US and European version, Super Bomberman 2 likewise, Super Bomberman 3 with the Japanese and European versions, Super Bomberman 4, the Japanese version with an English localization available, Super Bomberman 5, again, Japanese version with the English localization, and finally you get Bomberman and Bomberman 2, the Japanese versions. I was a massive fan of Super Bomberman back in the day. I used to play it on the Super Nintendo with cousins. I think it was one of the only games I actually ever used the multi-tap for, where you could play with 4 players, despite the fact obviously the Super Nintendo only had 2 ports as standard, and I'm very much looking forward to diving into this game. The Switch version costs £15.98, Switch 2 is £19.99, with there being an upgrade path available, and it's also getting a physical edition, albeit not just yet, although you can pre-order it as of now. And very quickly, before we move on to next week's games, I'm going to give a quick mention to Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero, because I have heard that they are getting Switch 2 upgrades early part of next week, although it's not officially on the eShop yet, so just in case it doesn't happen, I won't give it a full slot. If it does happen, they'll be in next week's video with further details. Moving on to the games that are out this week then, and the first of those is Starless Abyss. This is a turn-based roguelite intergalactic deck builder, according to the blurb, where you play as a Proxima, an organisation of scientists and occultists who have combined forces to take on the evil threatening the universe. It says you'll command a fleet of upgradable ships through combat, you can combine, collect and combo 6 different faction of cards, you can upgrade and collect artifacts, and embrace the occult by using powerful ritual cards. I'm not the biggest player of deck builders, but I do really like the look of this one. It might be one that I like looking at more than playing, to be honest, but there's definitely something about it that intrigues me. This one releases on the 17th of February, and it does have 30% available off of its base price up until the 8th of March. Next then we have Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. This is a story-driven survival strategy game in which the fate of the iconic starship is in your hands. It says you'll take the helm, managing the ship and resources and making difficult decisions. Will you be able to bring home the ship and its crew? It's based around the idea of a number of what-if scenarios. Going on to say, did you ever wonder what would have happened had Captain Janeway decided differently, or if an important crew member had followed a different path? It says this journey would not be possible without both combat between ships and away missions to planets or space facilities, and for away missions you need to put together a team based on the individual talents of your crew. I've never really watched much Star Trek, and I've certainly never watched Voyager. I remember watching a bit of The Next Generation as a kid, and some of the original films, plus a couple of the reboot films they did. Was it with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk? But you'll need to let me know if you are a Star Trek fan, if this is one that interests you. It releases on the 18th for £32.49 or your regional equivalent, but you can get 10% off of that price up until launch day. Also this week we have WiZman's World Retry. It says here this is a RPG adventure with a fantastic story that changes based on your choices and has a deep yet simple battle system. It goes on to say that you'll make full use of the timeline above the screen to develop your strategy, reading the enemy's HP, the attack order, everyone's status, and aim for the most effective way to win. It looks like it has a rock, paper, scissors battle system with water, fire, and wind being some of the attacks available. And this game released originally in 2009. I'll be honest, it's not one that I know of from back in that time, so I don't have much to say, unfortunately, on the original game. But in this remaster, the graphics have been enhanced, the background music rearranged, new tracks added, and the UI and playability options, it says, optimized. This one releases on the 19th of February for £19.79. We then have Gear Club Unlimited 3, and it says for the first time in the series you can now explore the asphalt roads of Japan as well as the French Mediterranean coast. Drive over 40 prestigious cars from the biggest brands and customize every detail, paint, bodywork, rims, mechanical performance, and so on. You have the races and the time attack modes that the series has had before, but it also mentions a new mode named Highways. It says you'll fight through traffic in France and Japan and prove that you can master speed and handling at the same time. As I mentioned, there are 40 cars available, 50 tracks, plus that new Highways mode and a story mode which is based, it says, on Japanese car culture. I played the first Gear Club on the Switch and actually quite enjoyed it. It was quite a decent game. This one's out on the 19th and it will sell for £44.99. Then we have Baladins. Here you'll be embarking on a quest as one of the Baladins, legendary heroes whose quest is to entertain the masses, with each Baladin bringing their own unique skills to the table. It's inspired by tabletop role-playing campaigns, and it's a choose-your-own story game where you'll roll the dice and see where your adventure takes you. There are a number of different characters to choose between, and you can play solo or with up to 4 players both locally and online. It's got a very interesting look to it and looks like quite a whimsical game. Looks to have a nice sense of humour behind it. It's out on the 19th once again and it sells for £21.99 or your regional equivalent.
Band together as friends, feed the dragon they must. Restore the peace, the cause most just. Together they sing the Baladins hymn. This is it.
Next is Death Howl, which comes via 11-bit Studios, and you'll be stepping into the myth-shrouded lands where the hunter Ro begins her journey to bring her son back from the dead. It goes on to say that you'll immerse yourself in the depths of the spirit world, fractured into 4 realms, split across 13 distinct regions. You'll confront over 30 enemy types and harness the potential of more than 160 cards, forging unique archetypes and a multitude of powerful combinations. So yeah, the second deck building game of the week, with over 160 cards as I mentioned a moment ago, and you can synergize these to focus on particular elements such as poison, strength, sacrifice, retaliation, backstabbing, blocking, movement and more. You'll face a number of restless spirits, as well as bosses and mini-bosses, all the while having to take into account environmental hazards as well. This one releases on the 19th and it does have 10% available off of its base price up until that date, bringing it down to £16.19 here in the UK.
You carry the burden of these broken creatures.
The penultimate game for the week then is Lost in Space: The First Adventure. This is based on the TV show that was out in, I think it was the 60s. And it also had a remake filmed in it, like in the 90s, the late 90s, with Matt LeBlanc, if I'm remembering rightly. I mean, when the remake is 30 years old, you know you're getting old, don't you? That's pretty shocking. Anyway, it says that you will explore treacherous environments, solve puzzles and mysteries as you investigate the disappearance of the other members of the Jupiter 2. Lost in Space: The First Adventure will return you to the imaginative world of the beloved 60s TV series. The game is designed to be the spiritual 4th season that fans have always wanted. That's a really nice idea actually, I do like that. As long as they're respectful to the source material and the characters that were in it and the actors that played them, then I think that's a really nice way of paying homage to a series that was once very beloved. £8.99 as well, doesn't seem a bad price. That one releases on the 19th. And finally for the week then, we have Ys 10 Proud Nordics. So Ys 10 did release on the original Switch. I'm assuming this is a remaster of some description or an Ultimate Edition. It says you'll experience Adol and Kaja's unforgettable journey across Abelia Gulf, if I've said that right, with new quality of life improvements, then discover the new story centering around Oland Island and the mysterious newcomers Canute and Astrid. I haven't played an Ys game for a while. I really did love Ys 8. I thought that was a great game. But yeah, haven't played many of them since. I think Mark's done the last couple of these for review, including this one, so we will have a review of this on the channel, or for the Switch 1 version, I mean, of course. £62.99 for this one. Oh, it's very expensive, but it's out on the 20th if you are interested. So there we have it, another week of Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 releases. Do any of those games interest you? Will you be picking any of them up? Do let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget, if you're looking for eShop credit to pick up any of these games, you can use our website switchup.gg to get your eShop cards. Doing so gets you 5% of your purchase price back as cashback. And if you're looking for something else gaming related, but to a lesser degree, on my Bricks channel, my kind of hobby channel where I look at some of the things that interest me outside of playing games, I've just looked at some blind bags that I found recently that are Monster Hunter themed, and they were actually pretty decent. So if you want to have a look at that, I'll put a card to that in the top right hand corner now. Thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.